And yes, again, this is part three. Yes, we're doing part three. I don't know why. I just feel like I should do part three. So this is 10 of Cups. Is not only for feminine energy. All right. I don't know if that's the reason why people don't take cups as a value. I don't know. Me personally, I feel like with the recent videos that I have made before, removing everything, where I was talking about cups, did kind of elaborate the importance of thinking in that direction. Um, but I guess it's not, and I also didn't want to give too much information, also, because I do want people to practice apocalyptic aftermath magic. I think it's awesome. I think it's really badass. There are some things that I have to work out in there, although before full release. But I guess we're gonna go down this journey together, more or less. I mean, it is a new magical system, but I will be working with it primarily. More than anything else. So So this is kind of like a free gift. This is a free gift of the power of apocalyptic aftermath. I have given you guys many free gifts, I do believe, if I'm not overstating myself. I would like to believe, I would like to think that I have given you guys free gift, because you are the blind and mute. And now I am giving you sight to see, and I'm giving you words to speak. So, because that's another thing in apocalyptic aftermath, we deal in crystalline energy, so we talk a lot, all the time, a lot. Like a lot. And or not, maybe we don't talk a lot, or maybe it's both, or maybe we just look like we talk a lot, but actually we don't talk a lot. Who knows? It's magic. That's just how it works. No one fucking sees anything, and no one fucking knows anything. That's the beauty of magic. So anyways, that's when you know that you're doing magic. When people can't see what you're doing, but you're doing something, that's when you know you're doing magic, right? Like that's when you know you're doing magic. If you're doing something and nobody can see it, that means you're doing magic. you know, it's like in business. In business, they're always saying, "Shut the fuck up! Don't tell people what you're doing." Magic. And then the guy becomes rich because he didn't say nothing. Magic. Nobody knows what he was doing. He knows he was doing something, but nobody knew what he was doing. Nobody could see what he was doing. And wham, multimillionaire, six figure nigga. Okay, I'm sorry. Magic, man. So importance of cups, not the 10 of cups. I don't care about the 10 of cups in particular. The importance of a cup. I've given you guys a lot of cues that you have not. I feel, well, maybe a couple people took it seriously. There's a couple people probably out there. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of my listeners that take some of the shit that I say seriously, but they just don't say it. Right, like, and no, I'm not talking about the regulars that comment on my channel on almost all my videos for the past 3 years. I'm talking about the 20 other people that I have no idea who they are that watches my fucking videos. I'm pretty sure there's some people in there that probably take this knowledge to heart, and they just go along life like nothing happened and shit. But the cup is also important, and you guys should have picked it up when I said it, and I feel like you guys did not pick it up when I said it, because it's that easy. Of course it's not easy. I mean, like, you're dealing in what some people would call shadow work and grounding. I call it grounding. That, to me, that's grounding. When you're recollecting yourself, that's grounding. Like, I don't really use nature to ground myself. I use myself to ground myself, like meditation, breathing, not necessarily breathing things, just breathing, just, shutting the fuck up for 5 seconds and just like take a good whiff of air, and just like ground my, pull myself back onto reality. Because I could go off on an imaginary world tangent, but I'm by myself, so I'll pass, because then I'll just look fucking crazy, and it's not that fun either, to live in a self-proclaimed imaginary world of your making, and there's nothing there, there's nobody there. Not very fun, when you're creating an imaginary, creative lifestyle, you want other people to join into the nonsense that you're in. I feel like living in an imaginary world by yourself is not very healthy, because you got things to do, right? If you're by yourself because you got things to do, you know what I mean? Like you gotta catch up. Not that you need to catch up. I'm not saying you're behind or anything. That's not what I'm saying. But because the reason why you might not have those friends or those people that support you is because of that imaginary world, right? So you have to get out of the imaginary world a little bit. I'm not saying not to be Peter Pan. If you want to be Peter Pan, I'm not saying you can't be Peter Pan. That's not what I'm saying. But you gotta regulate your inner Peter, right? You gotta regulate your inner Peter, man. You gotta, you gotta balance it, right? It's okay to be Peter Pan for a couple hours, but you also need to like live in real world. You also need to have like some sort of social interaction too, and you have to. It's important to mend both things, The reason why tarot reading is so dangerous is because some of them are not just tarot readers. Some of them are fate weavers, right? Like, because you can weave somebody's faith, right? Like if they you can make things happen in somebody's life, right? You can weave fate, right? So some tarot readers are fate weaver, and that's fucking dangerous because they're not telling the future. They're trying to create a future, that's probably not yours, so it's very dangerous. So you got to be careful who you listen to, man. If it's nonsense, you probably shouldn't listen to it, even if it's not your sign that they're reading. It doesn't matter. Like you should be careful what videos that you listen to, because you never know who might be a fate weaver or not, what I mean? That goes ditto for me too, actually, because I don't know any of these people, and I just randomly select stuff, so I don't have one person in particular. Well, actually, that's not true. There are some that I trust more than most. There are a couple that I trust more than most. There's a couple that I feel like that they're saying less BS than others, not that I'm saying what they're saying is BS necessarily, but it's YouTube. It's hard to trust people. Like, people don't even trust me with all the shit that I've said and all the shit that happened to me. People don't trust me either. So, and I get it, and I get it because I don't really subscribe to other people's channels. Like, it's hard for me to subscribe to somebody's channel because I feel like, just like you probably, I feel like my subscription is important. Like, if I subscribe to your channel, it might, I might be sending off the wrong type of energy. I might be sending off the wrong type of message. I believe that my subscribe is important, so I'm careful. I'm selective to who I subscribe to. I don't just subscribe, even if it's a subject that interests me. Like, if the person has like bad energy about him, I'm not gonna subscribe to his channel, regardless of if he's talking about shit that I fucking love and shit. Like, if the person's energy is fucked up, I'm not subscribing. Like, period. And I think a lot of people are like that. I think that's just how the new age works, where people are kind of like, they're careful who they subscribe to. You know, like it is what it is, you know. Now, on the subject of cups, um like I said, it's a very potent magical process, and it's not only, it doesn't just help you magically, it helps you in your everyday life, you know, especially if you're dealing with a lot of issues, you know, if you're finding yourself in less than favorable situations, or some kind of confusion about life, where you're heading, what you're doing, what your purpose is. Well, you can find comfort in the notion of the cup that I always talk about, right? You remember that your soul, your body is a vessel. You are the cup, right? The cup is you, right? So a cup is a vessel. What do you use a cup for? To transport things from one end to another, regardless if it's a person or a place. That's what a cup is. So a cup at the end of the day is a vessel, right? So your body is also a vessel and a cup, right? Just like the cup is your body and a vessel, right? Or you could just not say cup at all and just say vessel, right? Because it is the same thing. A cup and a vessel is the exact same thing. The cup represents a vessel, right? It's just a thing that you use to transport something from one place to another. So your body is just a vessel for your spirit and your soul, right? So your spirit and your soul comes from in eternity, and it is, your body is transporting that element, right, from eternity to here, from one place to another, right? So let's say you're going through tough times, you're finding it hard to like find your place in life or what you want to do and some shit like that. In the philosophy of the vessel, you know, I'm gonna say that instead, so you can feel more, because saying cup is kind of weird actually, now I think about it. You know, now I'm feeling self-conscious. You see what you did? You see, this is your fault. This is your fault. So I'm gonna just say vessel. No, but vessel is better. It sounds more arcane. So let's go down that rabbit hole for a second. Sounds cooler. So you know, so you have to remember you're the vessel. You're going through some hard time, whether it's like with addiction. If you're going through addiction, right, you have to remember like your addiction. Let's say you like, let's say you like smoking weed, right? Because sometimes it's the little things in life that get us, right? It's not a hard drug, but it does affect you, right? It can remove, weed can cause a lack of ambition, right? It can cause a lack of ambition. It can cause a little bit of laziness, right? So, but it's important to not look at it in the standpoint of, oh man, I suck because, you know, I don't have ambition and blah blah blah, you know, let me smoke another joint, fuck it, you know what I mean? That's not how, that's, seeing it that way is the best way to keep smoking. Like if you do have some ambition, or you do have some wants in the world, right? You don't want to look at your addiction as the reason why you're not good enough, right? That's the last thing you want to do, because if you look at it like that, if you look at it that way, then you're going to keep smoking, because you're going to keep thinking that you're not good enough. You know it's because of the weed, but subconsciously speaking, you're telling yourself it's too late because you're already on weed, so fuck it, I'm going to just keep smoking. So you have to stop looking at it that way, right? Completely. You have to remove that idea out of your mind. You have to like accept that you smoke weed, and you smoke weed. And you know, it might be embarrassing if you're in a meeting, or if you're in a group of people and they're like, you know, they're talking like, hey, people smoke weed, I can't believe this, and, you know, well, I smoke weed too, you know, shit happens. I mean, of course, you don't want to tell everyone that you're a fucking drug addict in the fucking universe, but it can happen that it causes you a little bit of embarrassment, right? But if you can't just remove that idea of embarrassment from your mindset, because those are the things keeping you down, like, right? Like, so if you can remove that idea from your mindset, and then if you can see it as an element that is within you, it's just an element, right? Just like in the water, there's plankton and molecules and gases and shit like that. It's just an element. That's all it is. It doesn't make the water worse or better, but it's there. Maybe the water would be better if it wasn't there, but it's there. There's nothing you can do about it. It's already, the deed is already done. It's there, right? So the important thing is not to start panicking and be like, oh shit, there's fucking gases in the water, we're gonna fucking die. No, you find ways to remove the gases, and in some cases, the gases might help the fucking water become more pure. Any motherfucking way. So it's all about your perception. It's all about, like, analyzing and seeing things for what they are, right? So let's say you're aware that the drugs is giving you a little bit of trouble keeping up with the Joneses, per se, for lack of better terms, right? Seeing yourself as a vessel, you can meditate upon it if you choose to. You can meditate upon it if you choose to see yourself as a vessel, and to like memorize in your head that your body is a vessel and you are the master, because the cup is the master, by the way. The cup is the master, and the cup also represents the master. So you tell yourself, I'm the master and I decide what goes into my cup, because the cup is yours. And this is the reason why you're the master, because it is you. You are the master of yourself. The cup is yours. So you decide what goes in there, and you decide what comes out of it too, right? So the important thing is to see whatever problem that's in your life right now, especially if we're talking about drugs, right? I'm trying to channel a little bit. I don't know why my eyes are closed, but I'm gonna try and channel a little bit. Maybe we can have a gem from the divine if I keep talking. So you meditate and you think about the cup, and you tell yourself that this represents self-mastery. You tell yourself this represents self-mastery. This is me. This is my cup. I'm the one who decide what goes in it and what comes out of it. This is how you take back your power. People talk about taking back your power all the time. This is one of the ways that you can take back your power. You're taking back your power because now you are making the choice of what comes into you and what comes out of you, and you are elevating your awareness also at the same time. Thank you, Spirit. They're helping me talk right now. They're elevating your you're elevating your awareness of what life contains and what life represents to you, right? And what each aspect of life you are aware of, and what you choose to let in. And when you start seeing this, and when you start seeing yourself as a vessel, then you can really start to feel like the world is like a fast food restaurant, right? And the menu is right in front of you. When you open your door, when you get out of the house and you open your door, that's the menu, right? Or the menu, if it depends on the person, right? It depends on the person, because some people are aware of everything that's in life. Some people are smart, they're well traveled and they're smart and they're aware that everything that's in life, but they might not aware of how much control they have over themselves, right? They might not have control over life, but they might not even be aware that they have control over themselves. They're aware of everything that's going on, and I'm not saying those type of people might be letting circumstances push them towards certain things. That's not what I'm saying, because these people might have character, and so do you. You might have character and you don't really let yourself get pushed around, but you do see all the nonsense that exists, and it is causing you a little bit of emotional duress, right? Not to say distress, right? So you see this, you might not be aware of this vessel energy that you have, because you're not a very spiritual person. You don't really like pseudo natural science and stuff, or holistics and stuff. You might not be into that. So therefore, you don't know that you are a vessel for everything that is, and this vessel is a vessel of your choosing. Can be filled, can transport the energies that you choose to transport, right? It's all up to you. It's not that anybody else, nobody can fill your cup for you. There are some entities like God. God is an entity that tries to fill your cup, right? It tries to replace you. Right? It's a generational curse, right? The things that people call demons all the time, destiny swapping and stuff like that. A lot of these fucking curses come from God. A lot of these curses are God-made curses. He's the first one to made it. He's the first one to have invented those curses. So God does try to fill your soul with himself, to the point where you are nothing, to the point that you're not. You completely given up your rights to have a life, like I did, like a dumbass. So and it's not funny, because it's a real statement, and it's actually quite dangerous. And because when you understand that you are a vessel, and the vessel, and you're a conscious living vessel, but when you're aware that you're the one who chooses what comes in and what comes out of that vessel, and then you think about the idea of prayer and God and all that, and then you start to understand what those words mean, and you're like, wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. I mean, he's taking me away from me. He's asking me to give myself up to him. That's some crazy shit. And it is. It's really crazy shit, So you're going through these problems. You're going through these things. We'll talk about that later. You're going through these things. You're going through these problems. You're finding it hard to find a solution, to find some breathing space, right? See yourself as a cup. See yourself as a master of yourself, a master of thyself. And then you proceed to look at life like a menu. This is what we were talking about. Sorry about that. I kind of went off track. You see life as a menu. And now you can, depending on the person, you can decide what is coming into your vessel and what you will throw out of the vessel, right? After you're done meditating, you can then decide to do that. And you have to make those choices on a day-to-day life, especially if you just started, if you're just starting to understand your vessel self, and the power of your vessel aspect, you have to realize that it's gonna take a little bit of practice, until the cup is filled with whatever you want. And it's very easy to fill a cup because everybody's different. People have different things that they like, but you can fill your cup with one thing. Like, let's say you want to be a UFC fighter or some shit like that. You can fill your cup with just that. and that's it. And you're just like, no, UFC, and that's all I think about. That's all I want to know. That's the only thing I care about. You're filling your cup of that, and then you'll become a UFC God champion. Which I kind of wish that would happen, especially if you give me credit for my cup theorem. Thank you. You can send the check at PO Box. Okay, I'm kidding. But I'm kidding. If that happens, please give me a shout out so I can make some money too. Okay, so like you can fill your cup with anything that you want, So, and you can fill your cup with many different things. Like my cup is filled with many different things, obviously, by choice. I know what I'm doing, and it's by choice. It's not, grave things. It's not, it's just like, I want creativity. I want comic books. Yes, I love comic books. I want creativity. I want creativity and comic books in my cup. So I fill my cup with that. I watch comic book shit. I read comic books. I sell comic books. I have comic books. I have collectors comic books. I have like comic books. I talk about comic books. So in my cup, there's comics. And that's fine. And I don't want it to go anywhere because that's my choice. That's what I want. Right? I have plans for it, or I would like to make plans for it. But the important thing is it's there, and I choose to have it there. I want it to be there. And I can also choose at any time and day to completely forget about it and remove it from my cup. Mind you, it'll be kind of hard. Why? Because I have an emotional link to the thing. So I'll go back to it. It's kind of like dealing with an addiction. I'll relapse. I might relax on my comic book affair. And you can do that with everything else. It really depends on what you're thinking of. And the reason why it's helpful, if you're dealing with addiction, the reason why it's helpful is that you are aware that, okay, it's an element. It was an important element in my life. It was part of my vessel. It comprised a lot of the parts in my vessel because a lot of the things that I was carrying had something to do with that element that was inside of my vessel. So now I'm going to have to find something, because you can throw it out. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people just throw out that idea. They go cold turkey, or they go to therapy. They go cold turkey or go therapy, and they completely empty out that element. And that's good. Where that could be bad is if that person throws out that element and has exactly, somebody said it, you're probably thinking the same thing I'm thinking, exactly, you thought right, doesn't find a thing to replace it with. And that's where it's dangerous, and that's how you relapse and you start smoking weed again. So and a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just quit. And it works for 6 months, maybe a year. Shit, maybe 2. Fuck it. Maybe even 5. But they didn't find something to replace that part of their lives with. And that's the reason why they keep relapsing. Because you have to understand that comprised a major part of what was inside of you. And what I mean by inside of you, I mean what was actually outside of you. Because what's inside of you is what happens outside. So if you're dealing with drug addiction, if you were dealing with drug addiction, you had friends that was into drugs. Older people that deal or are into drugs. Like, you go to places that you might find drugs, So, and now, okay, you're not taking the drugs, but you're still walking around the same friends that do drugs. You're still going at the same places where you might find drugs. The things that were attached to the thing that you threw out are still there, right? Why are they still there? Because you didn't replace it. You just threw out the part that you didn't like, or the part that you thought you didn't like. But your cup is still, it's not just you that smokes weed. Your cup is smoking weed too. You know what I mean? Like, your cup is rolling joints up in this bitch, right? It's like your cup is like on a fucking sofa, rolling itself a doobie. You know what I mean? You might not be smoking, but he's still smoking. Why? Because the elements are still there. The other elements that were attached to it are still there. And you only throw out one part. So, in order to completely remove the elements that were inside of you while you were going through that process, you have to find something else that you want to, either that you want to start doing, or a hobby that you really like doing. Yes, I just said it. Yes, I said a hobby. And yeah, because you can, like, but you have to really take that hobby seriously, because you were taking the drugs seriously, right? So you won't be able to replace something that was that serious, that affected you that much, with a small thing. You're going to need something, and it's you that has to make it big, because it can be anything. It could be collecting pennies or fucking stamps, but you really have to go fucking ham, and you have to go ham the same way you went ham on your usage, on your consumption. And that's how you stop smoking weed. That's how you get over certain situation. And like, let's say you're dealing with confusion about life. You understand? But the thing is, when you're going through confusion about life, right? About how people are fucking crazy and shit like that, and whatnot, right? You're letting those things into your cup. Like, I'm letting these things into my cup. Like, I want those things to be in my cup. I mean, I don't want them to be in my cup, but I'm aware that if I want to change things, a little bit of that energy is going to go into me. And then I have to take that energy, reconfigure it in order to look more like what I think is better, which is not necessarily something that succeeds all the time, but that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is, cups, all right? Vessels. That's what we're talking about. Now, we're not talking about me. But all jokes aside, the reason why you're feeling this is because you're accepting it. It's an element too. Everything is an element. Your friends are an element. Everything. Your girlfriend, your friends, your clothes. Everything is an element. Everything is an element that is susceptible to change. Everything is susceptible to change. Everything is an element, and everything can be transfigured. Everything. So you're dealing with confusion. You're kind of lost about how life is going down. Meditate, sit down, stay silent, stay quiet, meditate, sit down, and tell yourself, envision a giant golden chalice in front of you that looks like something from the Destiny 2 video game or some shit like that, with a bunch of jewels on it and shit, like something Arabic. You know, Arabs make the best fucking looking jewelry. People say Jewish make the best goddamn jewelry cuts, but I don't know, man. Saudi Arabia shit, like old fucking, like, oh, you should check that out on YouTube, by the way, or at least on Google and shit. Like, look at ancient like jewelry from the Sultan eras and shit. It's remarkable. Like Fabergé eggs and shit. It's remarkable. Indian and Middle Eastern jewelry. It's breathtaking. I think they were the best jewelers ever in history. Personally, I feel like they were the best jewelers ever. You know, like China makes a lot of nice like porcelain things, and they're really good at drawing. You know, and I think it's more like the handcrafting with China that gives it the value that they have. You know, like fine China. But fine China is mostly like hand painted things on porcelain and stuff like that. You know, and I feel it's more of the hand painting that's giving it more of the value, because if you compare that to like in old Indian jewelry, old Middle Eastern jewelry, it's out of this world, man. Out of this world. The fucking ceremonial daggers and shit like that's to die for. So anyways, like Fabergé eggs are insane, dude. You should check that out. You should check Fabergé eggs. I can't even believe that's a real thing. It's fucking insane, dude. That shit's like been around for thousands of years, bro. Like they used to make that for fun. Like, you know, I bet you if somebody tries to do that today, they're gonna fuck it up, dude. Like, you know. So anyways, okay, maybe not. I'm kidding. So anyways, like picture a gold chalice of your liking, you know, like make it really resplendent, right? And tell yourself that you got to tell yourself you're the master of your vessel, and you're the one that chooses whatever goes in and whatever goes out. And it's important for you to tell yourself this, because you got to remember, because if you're new to this line of thinking, you're going to start and then you're going to just go off rails at some point if you don't remember. Right, so it's important for you, and because you might start off okay, and you're making like, you know, aware, critical decisions, and then for some reason you start swerving off because the pace of life is catching up to you and shit like that. Just stay focused, stay in line. You're the one that decides. This is your life, not somebody else's. It's your fucking life. So you decide what goes into the cup. And like I said, if you're facing challenges like that, like, you know, life crisis, you know, the crisis of consciousness and shit like that, you know, it's important for you to tell yourself these things, right? And you have to be aware when that happens, it's because the energy of those people, it's not your energy, it's the energy of the people that is inside of your vessel, that you are probably accepting on purpose because you probably don't like what's happening and you would like things to change, and you have your opinion and shit like that. But you also need to be aware that having an opinion over something is just as important as, you know, is just as important as anything else. You can't take it lightly. You can't take just you having an opinion as just you having an opinion, right? You know, which even I'm guilty of, apparently. You know, that's a thing I'll tell you later. But anyways, you got to be aware that just having an opinion on something is still important, right? It's not just you know, it's not just, oh, I have an opinion, you know, I don't like this, I don't like that, I have an opinion, and that's it, and that's all. No, you're doing things. It's important. Everything you say is important. Don't think because I'm fucking special and I'm the king of the motherfucking world and everybody fucking loves me and nobody's aware of your existence, that doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit. It takes everyone. Right? It doesn't take just one person. Yes, I'm very powerful, and maybe I could save the whole fucking world by myself. I almost said that with a straight face. Yeah, but maybe I am powerful and whatnot and blah blah blah. But you know, it takes it. You can't do it alone. All right, and nobody can do it alone. Everything is important. Everybody's important, bro. Like, like I wouldn't be in the position that I was if I wasn't aware of how important people are. Right. The only problem is it's not me that don't know that people are important. It's people that don't understand that people are important. I'm not. Don't blame me. Don't look at me. Like don't that's not my fucking problem. I think me and by from if you my opinion, sir, ma'am, my opinion is I believe people are the ones that don't know how important they are. I don't believe that. As a matter of fact, I'm still working on trying to not see people as fucking superheroes and shit. Because I like for real, like I don't have that much imagination. My imagination sucks, and I'll tell you the reason why for later, which I know you're not gonna like. But like my imagination sucks, bro. And but I do see people. I see people like as gods and superheroes. Like I literally like I can look at somebody. Like if I look at someone long enough, like just his face, like I start seeing shit. Like I started seeing like shit. Like I started seeing like fucking armors, like old fucking chivalry armor and shit, or fucking vampires, or even cartoon characters. I started seeing like Bugs Bunny and shit. Like it's fucking crazy. I see shit, dude. I see shit. So, anyways, I've seen some things, bro. And I'm still working on not doing that. Because I have to, because I'm the king of the world, so I can't do it. I can't say it with a straight face. I'm sorry, because because I am who I am, right? So being the position, I'm the sorcerer supreme. I'm gonna say that instead. It sounds less arrogant. So I'm the sorcerer supreme, right? So like I have to stop looking at people as gods and shit like that. Even though I still do, I don't fucking care. It's just I have to be careful the emotion, because back then I would see somebody and I would see like a gorilla when I look at the person, and I'm like, oh shit, man, he's such a badass. Like that person like would be my hero and shit. Like I would like go crazy. So like I try not to do that anymore, because everybody's human and everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect and shit like that, so it's kind of irrational to be like, yeah, the person might have spirit, but that doesn't mean just because somebody has a spirit, that doesn't mean he holds to that spirit. You know what I mean? Because the spirit is spirit. It's gonna be with you regardless of the choices you make. It's just where you're from is where you're from. At the end of the day, you can't really change that. I mean, obviously you are, since you're not following your spirit, but it's still there somewhere. Deep down inside somewhere, it's still there. So it's important not to, if you do see those things, it's important not to go too fucking far. Which I don't think anybody has a problem with that. But it's important not to go too far, when you start, when you see people like that, obviously, for obvious reasons. So anyways, you're dealing with, life's little, lemons, and, that cup perspective, seeing yourself as a vessel, is going to help you go through those things, because you're going to come to the realization that you're the one that is accepting these things to come into you. And you're also aware that you're pouring into it, because when you're having an opinion, and this is important, because when you're having an opinion, when you are outspoken about a subject, then you're sharing the content of your vessel, because you have content too. You can create content. Right? So you have your own content, and you're pouring your content, especially if you're somebody that has opinion. A person that has a lot of opinion is a person that creates his own content, right? So that's a person that can pour things into you. Some people, believe it or not, cannot pour anything into you because they don't have an opinion. They don't have an original thought. and they might be pouring something into you, but it's not them that they're pouring into you, it's something else, right? So kind of like, let's say the Illuminati, by example. Like, let's say, you know, you don't like the Illuminati, you're a whistleblower, blah blah, and then the Illuminati person is close to you and he starts trying to like convert you into the Illuminati and shit like that. Yes, the person is pouring, he's doing the act of pouring, and you're doing the act of receiving or ignoring, or whatever the case may be, whatever your position is, right? But it's not the person's cup that you're taking in, it's actually someone else's cup. You're taking in the Illuminati's cup. That's because that cup is not the person's personal content, right? Personal content is content, and that can be poured into someone else. It's like, perfect example, when you have a kid. What do you do when you have a kid? When you're having a kid, then you're pouring your cup onto his, right? And your kid is receiving the contents that you are giving him. So now you're doing the act of pouring, right? So the Two of Cups. So and you have to understand, the Two of Cups in the tarot card is one of the, I feel, in my opinion, I feel like the Two of Cups is one of the major, I think it's Temperance. No, is it the Two of Cups? Yeah, no, it's Temperance. Temperance is a alchemical tarot card, right? It's an alchemical principle. It's the one of the most alchemical, one of the biggest alchemical principles in the tarot deck, right? Which would be Temperance, because you can see the guy pouring one cup into the other, and that's how they used to do magic back in the days. That's how they used to mix potions back in the days. We didn't have all these tools, so when we used to create potions, we would take 2 cups and we would mix the potion by pouring one thing into the other and then the thing back onto the other, then slap. If you ever went into a 3-star bar or a 2-star bar, there'd be a guy there, there'd be the barman. The barman comes out of alcohol anonymous school, and he knows how to motherfucking mixology, and he knows how to mix. And he takes 2 cups and then he mixes the 2, and then he starts doing all kinds of fucking same fucking shit, right? So there's some principles that never disappear, no matter how much into the future we're going to go. There are some principles that will never appear. So in the case of content creating, when you have a kid, you're initially pouring yourself into that kid, and then the kid decides to either take more or find something else to fill his cup. And then he starts listening to hip hop or rock and stuff, and he's like, yeah, dad, blah, 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 whatever, right? So he's filling his cup with something else. He's filling with his cup with something else. And then the parents are like, I don't recognize him anymore. It's not my kid. You're kind of right. You're kind of right, but it's not accurate. He's still your kid. There's still a lot of you in him, but he's finding his own way. Right? He's trying to find who he is, because he already got a lot of you, and he's aware that he is you. And that's where the frustration might come in too, because the kid might be aware that he is only you. So now the kid is kind of like, because you have to be careful when you're creating gods, bro. You have to be careful when you're creating God. So the kid grows up and he's like, he might get frustrated and he'd be like, shit, aren't I an individual? Don't I have something? So now the kid started to do the process of trying to find himself, right? So now he starts listening to hip hop and starts blah, blah, and starts hanging around with the cool kids, smoking cigarettes behind the bleachers. Type of shit. Being all condescending and shit. skipping school, whatever. Okay, I'm exaggerating here, but that shit does happen though. Like, so um, and this is the reason why I always say you have to be careful when you're creating gods. I mean, like, it's important. I mean, it's okay. You're a seemingly good person, and you're filling yourself with all of the goodness that's inside of you, but that's still a person at the end of the day, and you kind of have to be aware of his, because he has an individuality. You have to be aware. Yes, it is your son, but he's not your son. I know that's fucked up. Like, I know that's fucked up to say, but you have to. It's true. Like, it's your son, but he's not your son. I mean, you've created a creature. You've created you. It was your blood that created him. It was your system. Two people. Well, first of all, he can't be your son because it took two people to create him, right? So it's not just your son. And he can't be just your son. There's always going to be a multitude of things in him. So there's going to be parts of his mother in him too. Right? So he's not just your son. Right? And she can't say the same thing. She can say, oh, it's my son. I created him. I gave birth, blah, blah. No. Yes and no. Because there's the day that he was born, how he was born, why he was born. He's the son of those things too. And I guess that's what they call the Holy Trinity in the Bible. Right? They call that the Holy Trinity in the Bible. There's the Father, the Mother, and then there's the ether. So you have to be aware of his ether. You have to be aware of his ether. You have to be aware of his arcanum. And I'm not saying that's going to save a bunch of parents the issue of teenage angst. I'm severely doubt that would solve any teenage angst issue, but it might help. Like, it might help, because if the son, just him seeing his mom, and nobody's that stupid, right? Like, you can't expect the kid to be that dumb. You can't expect him to be like, I am just my mom and I am just my dad. No, he knows he has to be something more than that, and there has to be something more than that. People, like, if you try to drive into your kid's skull that you're his mom or you're his dad, right, without giving him any notion of reality, I just said reality, because I do believe it's irrational. I think it's irrational to feel like, to be a parent and feel like you have utter and complete and like authority over that life, right? I mean, sure, you're stronger than the kid. Of course you could kill him. Like duh, that doesn't change anything. And it doesn't mean that you're right. Actually, that means you're wrong. Because if he was only yours, you wouldn't have to kill him. The fact that you're thinking about that proves that he is not yours alone. Because you would need to have that conversation. If you're having that conversation, is because the child is coming into a realization of self-identity, and he's asking himself questions about what is life. Therefore, you need to fill his cup. You need to fill his cup, and he's asking a little bit more than just you, because he already got you. And mind you, I'm saying all this shit and making like the dad and the child look bad, but there's some children that might be rebellious, but at the end of the day, behind all that rebelliousness, they are still their dad's children, right? And there's nothing that's gonna change that shit. Like, it doesn't matter how far he goes down the fucking deep end, His dad is still going to be his dad. End of story. I'm not saying that's the case for every children, but most children, that's the case. You know, like, and that whole rebellious phase, it's just a phase. It's just that they're trying to find a sense of individuality. They're trying to balance out the fact that they're consciously thinking, and also the fact that, okay, but I'm full of my dad. Right? Because you have to understand, you're creating, like, bro, it's fucking confusing. You went through it too. Of course, we're fine. It wasn't that bad. But everybody went through that. And fine is a relative word, because there's a lot of parents that might not have had good parents, but they're good parents still. You know, and there's some parents that probably never got that soul searching experience, you know, but they're still good parents, right? So, you know, now I'm explaining it to you. Now it's being explained, right? Thanks to the apocalyptic opsimath magic system. Thank you, Spirit, for the inspiration for this video. Thank you for letting me find the words. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna stop saying thank you because I know you don't like it, because, you know, y'all be kicking my ass sometimes, and I don't like it, so I don't even know why I'm saying thank you. But thank you anyways, you know. So, anyways, no, I shit you not, bro. Gratitude, man. I did a gratitude dedication 2 weeks ago. Holy fucking shit, did I have a bad time after I did it, bro. Almost the day later. A day later, I did the gratitude. I did the gratitude thing, dedication, you know, for a good hour. I was saying thank you for everything, you know, thank you everything in my life. I think I pinpointed all the things that I was thankful for. You know, the day after, everything went to shit, and it's not the first time. So now I'm starting to understand that I have to stop doing that. You know, so I'm gonna stop doing that. So now it's being explained, and I'm pretty sure, I'm aware, I'm saying this, you know, nonchalantly, and I'm laying it out like that, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have liked someone to have told them this a long fucking time ago. You know, unfortunately, it's only coming out today, but it's probably gonna come out some more, because the Illuminati is gonna copy exactly what I'm doing. They're probably copying what I'm doing right now and releasing a video before I'm gonna release it, because their computer is faster than mine, and I'm not really that good at fucking editing. Well, actually, I'm not that bad. I can make some pretty cool shit, but that doesn't matter. The time that I take to edit my fucking video, the video that they already did to counter my video is already gonna be out. So, anyways. The kids, it's like, it's irrational to ask a kid to only think that he's you and also be himself at the same time. That's fucking crazy. Do you imagine the brain fuck that you're causing to this to the child, bro? Like, it doesn't. It's like it's erratic. It's irrational. It's irrational thinking, right? So the person develops a consciousness, and that consciousness is now aware that you exist. That consciousness understands that you're the father, that you're the mother. But if those two are people, then who the fuck am I? And everybody asks themselves that question at a certain time and age, and they might not be aware that that's the fucking question that they're asking themselves, or they might not. They might be reactive and not conscious, right? They might be reactive, where there's a bubbling feeling inside of them. They don't know where it comes from or what it is, and they don't have the tools to self-introspect, and they just end up doing a whole bunch of fucked up shit and breaking their legs 547 times, end up being a fucking pro skater, calls himself Tony Hawk, wins a bunch of fucking championships, and shit like that. Shit happens. So you can see how your vessel and the contents of your vessel is important, and how it is interchangeable, and being able to see that chalice, that holy grail, you know, um, is important, and it helps you out throughout the day. Helps you make better choices. And it's not about doing better choices, to be quite honest, because like I said, you can choose to put whatever you want in it. It's your fucking chalice at the end of the day. But it does help you make purposeful choices, as of, oh well, everybody's going there, so I'm going there. Like, because I don't know what to think, like, or the shit like that. It's like, what do I want? That's the trick. That's the thing. That's the beauty of apocalyptic ops and math chalice. I have to find a title for that technique, which I usually do find names. I just forgot. I found a name like this week too for it. No, it was another spell. Okay, fuck it. So yeah, it was another spell. Okay, so I gotta find a name for it. So, anyways, in the apocalyptic, the beauty of the apocalyptic ops and math vessel system is the fact that at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're asking yourself, what do I want? What do I prefer? Me. Like, what do I want? What do I prefer? Where do I want to go? Because those people want to go there. Those people want to go there. Do I want to go there with those people? Do I like those people? Do I want to be with those people? If the answers to all that is yes, go right on ahead. But if it's no, then you shouldn't do it. I see you guys, you're standing there, well, I want to smoke weed. So, but nah, bro. Nah, bro, that's not, no, okay, that's not how it works. If the weed is the weed, ask yourself honest question. If I smoke weed right now, is it going to hinder something that I'm planning on doing? If the answer is no, well, shit, I wouldn't suggest doing it, but I'm not your mother and I'm not your father, right? But I would not. And I'm saying that, but I do rarely, on some occasion, spark a doobie, So, but personally, I would not do that, like I would steer clear, and ask yourself honest questions, because you can't, not everybody's in the same situation, not everybody's in the same spot, right? And you got to ask yourself honest question: is doing this going to hinder me in some shape or form, right? Which is basically the same as I was saying before. Like, is going over there with those people going to hinder me? Is it good for me physically, mentally, spiritually? Am I going to gain something from going there? Am I going to get laid if I go at that party with those guys? Because no, I'm not kidding. That's a real fucking question. There's some fucking people. If you go somewhere with them, you're not gonna get laid, bro. You're not gonna get laid, bro. So you gotta ask yourself, you gotta be honest with yourself. Am I giving myself the highest, like, opportunity here? Am I giving myself the highest percentage of success, the highest rate of success by engaging in this activity with these particular people or these particular things, right? Am I going to get laid if I'm wearing this outfit, right? If I'm wearing these clothes, are my chances of getting laid high or low? You gotta, yeah, no, you gotta ask yourself, yes, you gotta ask yourself serious questions. You gotta ask yourself, you have to be aware of what you're doing. Being aware of what you're doing is where all the power is, bro. When you're aware of what you're doing and you're like making clear-headed, purposeful decision, that's where all the power is. And that's where your cup activation system relies on. And when you start thinking like that, sooner or later, of course, now you heard it here first. So now that cup system will be activated because you got me in the back of your mind. And now you know what the cup is. You know what a vessel is. You know everything now. Now you're a fucking master. You're a fucking master now, bro. So you got to ask yourself questions. You got to ask yourself honest questions. You got to be honest with yourself. Will the things that I want, I will be able to get it if I do this, and that. And that's one aspect, because it's not just to get things, that you get into that line of thinking. It's not just to get things that you get in that line of thinking. It's also to live a better life. It's also to live a better life, or more not necessarily meaningful, but a better quality of life, with less headaches, because there are always going to be setbacks no matter what you do, where you go, whatever. There's always going to be setbacks, but this line of thinking gives you less headache, right? And it permits you to really envision your steps before you make it, right? And when you can envision your steps before you make it, the outcome, there's a higher probability that the outcome that you're looking for, that's what's going to happen, right? But you got to make those choices on purpose. You got to be aware that the choices that you're making were your choices. You got to be aware that the choices that you're making was of your, line of thinking. This is what you wanted. This is where so yeah, man, cups are amazing. Only here on the apocalyptic Opsimath magic system. If you hear this anywhere else, they stole it from me, because I'm the only one on the internet that talks about these kinds of things, the way that I talk about it. So all this is basically copyrighted. I'm copyrighting my shit right now, if you hadn't noticed. So anyways, so this is the apocalyptic Opsimath vessel magic. Very potent, very powerful. This is a freebie. Right? This is just a, well, I would like to say, with all the things that I've said, I think I've actually given more powerful weapons than this. If anybody remembers, but I think I have given more powerful things than this. But me personally, is one of my favorite things about the apocalyptic Opsimath magic system. I feel like the vessel cup system is one of my favorite things. And like I said, we use the voice a lot. We use a lot of crystalline energy, which is another thing that only I talk about, that you heard here first. That was last year with my 36 chamber video series that still exists. It's still on the channel somewhere, but that was paid content. The website is down. I don't know if I want to put it on YouTube or maybe on another website where they sell tutorials, which is probably what I'm going to do. I'm not sure. But crystalline energy is very important to us. The power of the voice is very important to us, and and crystalline energy is just awesome. Like throat chakra is very, very powerful. Very powerful, more powerful than people or even aware of. But the cup is one of my favorite systems because it lets me, because you can be whoever you want to be. When you're really good at mixing potions, when you're really good at mixing potions, you can just become anything that you want. You can be whatever you want, like at any moment in time. And it's really weird because it's kind of like what is destiny at the end of the day. Like you could literally change your destiny if you wanted to. You could literally like you could like literally go from being a rapper to a rock star, in like 5 seconds. Like, yesterday you were a rapper, the next day, oh fuck it, I'm a rock star, I'm gonna play fucking guitar and shit, and and then become an astronaut the day after. Like, so it's very interesting. Like, so I really like the cup, and that's what happens when you're really good at it. It's like you can literally like shapeshift into different things. And it comes with a little bit of practice. Like I said, for like, I made this video mostly for people that are not necessarily like mystics. I'm pretty sure mystics that pick up on what I'm saying are probably like going to be on the level where they can just change themselves into whatever the fuck they want. But regular people are going to take this as like kind of like a motivational type of video or some shit like that, which is fine, and that's exactly how you should see it, because that's exactly how I wanted to make it look like. And and I do want you to take it that way, because it can help like in your everyday life decisions. And if you don't have any everyday life decisions to make, because you're still trying to figure out who you are and where you're going in life, well, you can start today by just doing whatever the fuck you want. Like, if you want to be a fucking chef, start fucking cooking and reading books and watching Gordon fucking Ramsay or some shit like that. And you could basically do whatever you want. It just decides on what you just have to decide on what you want, and how to do it. And it's also the reason why I feel this video is motivational is because there's an underlying tone. If you can read between the line, I'm basically saying that you can become anything you wish to become, right? And the only thing you need is to take in the energy of whatever you want to become. Right? Of course, there's some things you might not be able to become. You can't really be a cartoon character, like because it's not a real person. You can't actually become a cartoon character, but you can like have some discernment. Like, let's say you want to be a Casanova. Well, you have to mingle in that energy. You have to let that energy seep in. You have to consume content that has Casanovas in it. Buy a poster. I don't fucking know, somebody that looks like a Casanova, or have just attract as much of that energy of that thing that you want to be. Pour yourself with that thing. Because you have to study, basically. You have to study. You have to really like let that information inside of you, because that's the thing about like the cup, right? How does it actually fucking work, right? How is God stealing my soul? Right? Well, you're learning about him, right? You're reading this book. It has 3,000 fucking pages. You remember half of it, or maybe the whole goddamn fucking thing. You're doing research. You're uncovering things. You're spreading the good news. Every aspect of your life is based off around him. So you have a lot of his energy inside of you. And you have almost nothing of you left inside of you because you filled it with him, right? And that's not where the good and the bad part is, that's just the magic. That's just how it works. But you have to realize you engulf the information. So basically, when you want to become something, let's say, I don't know, you want to be a pro skater, right? Then you have to study. You have to study pro skating. You have to do some skating. You have to study. I mean, not necessarily study, but you have to be interested in what you want to be in your cup. You can't just say like, oh, I like karate. You don't watch kung fu movies. You don't practice karate, right? You don't practice karate. You don't watch karate movies. You're like, you don't even hang around anywhere near anybody that practices any form of martial arts. But you're still saying you love karate, and you're like, well, I'm not transforming into karate. Well, because you're not making any effort. There's nothing in your cup that says karate. There's no karate in your cup. You have to put the karate inside the cup. You have to put the karate inside the vessel. That's your job, not mine. I gave you the cup. Now but you still have to. This is a self-serve business. All right. We only give out the cups, but you can drink as much as you want. We might not have the best customer service, but it's an all-you-can-drink buffet. So drink to your heart's content. Drink until you're passed out. So, and the people, you're gonna have to be okay with that, and that's just how life goes. You can't expect people to give you everything all the fucking time, and because there's some people that think like that. Some people think like some people are gonna listen to like videos like this, and they're gonna be like, "Well, fucking give it to me." Like give me the whole fucking thing. What thing? I don't know what the fuck you like, bro. Like that's your fucking business. Yeah, but I don't want to fucking study your shit and stuff like that, bro. Like just fucking do it. And if you don't want to do it, go smoke a joint. Leave me alone. Like go. What the fuck? What you want me to say? Like so. There's people that think like that, man. There's people that like, they just want the whole fucking shebang, and like you got to do a little bit of legwork. You got to do a little bit of legwork, bro. Like so, you have to research. You have to research. My name is Genie. You have to research, and you have to research, and you have to, not research what. Not research, but you have to intake content from the things that you like, right? You have to intake content from the things that you like. If you don't intake content from the things that you like, you're not filling your cup, and your cup will be full of the thing that was there before you decided to change what was in your cup, right? So anyways, I think I said enough. I think this was self-explanatory. I feel like it was. If you have any question, if I missed a spot and you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you when I see you again. Have a good one. Peace out.